Welcome to another episode of our live stream, My Journey to the Trinity. My name is Hussein. Happy to be with you. Happy you could be with me. And I want to do something tonight that I've been wanting to do. Yes. We have this book right here. Mine is falling apart because I've used it so much. This book was written by Father Zechariah Butros, and this is the big book. There's also English translation, but I don't have the English one, but I do have this Arabic one. And this book kind of has a summary of everything Father Zechariah has talked about for years and years and years, decades that he's been teaching about Islam. And so I wanted to look at one particular topic here in his book. It's about Muhammad's women. Okay, now I know everybody knows that, he had one wife for a long time. Her name was Khadija. Then he went on to have more than one with Aisha, Sauda, Hafza, um, Ruman, Zainab bint Jahsh. He had so many different wives. And so, but there's actually um, a lot more than just those women and then the ones that he was married to. There's Father Zechariah has, based on his decades of study of the Islamic sources, has found 66 women that Muhammad had been involved with. And so I just want to look at, I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get through all of them just because there's a lot. And so so anyway, let's just start listing them. Okay. So we know that Muhammad in chapter 3350 of the Quran was given permission. Let's just look at that together. Muhammad was given permission, pretty much given carte blanche, with however many women he wanted. And it's an extremely explicit verse in the Arabic. Oops, I don't know what happened there. Let me just try this again here. Quran.com 3350. Did that work? Yeah, okay. Let's see if this works. Okay, here's the verse. And the English version is much more sedate, much more bearable, okay, than the Arabic. The Arabic is much worse than the English. But let's just look at what the English says. We'll look at an old version like hello, Iron Quill. Hello, Tiger. God bless you. Yes, 66. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to name all of them. But I first want to look at this verse. Look at the Hilali Khan. I'm going to go to the Pickthall. Pickthall sometimes is the most. Okay, it says, Prophet, we have made lawful unto you your wives, unto whom you have paid the dowries. Okay, now weren't they already lawful? Didn't he obtain them in lawful means? Why does Allah have to make it lawful again? Okay, but he did. And those whom your right hand possess of women whom Allah has given you as spoils of war. So Allah gave him a bunch of slaves, sex slaves. Allah says, hath given thee as spoils of war. and the daughters of your uncle from your father's side, and daughters of thine aunts on your father's side, and daughters of your uncle on your mother's side, and daughters of your aunts on your mother's side, who emigrated with you. So this will be obviously in Medina, because these have immigrated from Mecca to Medina with you. And then he's got this humongous carte blanche here. And a believing woman, if she gives herself unto the prophet, and the prophet desires to ask her in marriage, which is not what it says in Arabic. And this is a privilege only for thee, not the rest of believers. Okay. So any woman, believing woman that wants to give herself to him, and we have many examples of this in the hadith, and Aisha, in spite of all that she suffered and everything that she went through, she was really disgusted with this practice and said, "Isn't it shameful for a woman to come and offer herself to the prophet?" I mean, she was watching it and it made her want to throw up. Okay. So, anyway, so essentially, Muhammad was given pretty much a carte blanche to have as many women as he wanted. The Arabic word, if anybody speaks Arabic here, is azwaj uma malakat aymanakum lakilan, uh, here in arad nafsha in wahabat nafsha lin nabi, if she gives herself to the prophet, in arad nabi in yustankihuha, if the prophet wants to have sex with her. Okay, so that's what it says in Quran. And if you speak Arabic, you know what yustankihuha means. It comes from the word nikah. So these are the permissions given to Muhammad. And so anyway, let's just look at the names. Look at who are these women. Okay, like I said, I'm not going to be able to do all of them. Okay. عندما يكبر على حد يعبر الشيخ خليل. اوكي. اوكي. اسماء زوجات الثلاثة عشرة زوجات. Okay, these are the 13 wives that Muhammad had. Okay. Number one, okay, Zainab bint Hazima. Okay, first of all, Khadija bint Khuwaylid. You guys know that she was the first one. She owned him. I mean, he worked for her and married her and was loyal to her as long as she was alive. But as soon as she died, he was given great liberties. Okay, but the first one is Khadija. You always hear about her. Then there is Zainab bint Huzaima al-Halaliya. Okay, she was a widow of one of the Muhammad's battles. You know, her husband was killed during one of Muhammad's battles. Then there was Rihana bint Zaid bin Amru. Okay, she was a Jewish prisoner. She was a Jewish prisoner, and he offered her to turn into a Muslim. So he forced her to become a Muslim and married her, and she died during Muhammad's lifetime. Okay. Then there's some of the women who were divorced during his life. Among them, okay, Zainab bint Jahsh. You know about Zainab bint Jahsh. This was his daughter-in-law. She was married to his son Zaid. He made Zaid divorce her so he could marry her. And okay, then there's Safiya bint Huyay. Okay, Safiya was a Jewish prisoner, and who was taken. She was very beautiful, and she was taken by Dahya bin Kalbi. Dahya al-Kalbi, you remember Dahya? He's also one of Muhammad's friends. But Muhammad wanted her, so he made Dahya give her to him. Okay, so this is Safiya bint Huyay. This was the very famous situation. Excuse me, but this was the result of Khaybar, and he went and killed her husband, her father, and her brother, and then took her as his wife and married her, had sex with her on the way to Medina. Okay. And she is the one who cooked the famous supper, of Muhammad with the talking goat leg or talking sheep leg. And, the leg said to, okay, let's see, Iron Quill says here. Sophia's husband killed on the day after she got married. Her father, brother, relatives, whole tribe, as she slept with Muhammad, the person who killed them. Well, yeah, it was Muhammad just had this power over women. But she also cooked dinner for him. And included in the dinner was a hefty dose of rat poison. And she put it in the food. But the food, the cooked meat, alerted Muhammad, hey, this food is poison, to where Muhammad was warned not to eat it. But the meat was a little bit late. He had already put it to his mouth by the time the meat or the leg of lamb spoke to him. The leg of lamb spoke to him after he had already put it in his mouth, and the poison entered. And as a result, for 3 years, he was very weak. They used to have to carry him on their shoulders and drag his feet because he wasn't able to move his feet. For 3 years, he was sick, and then he died. Okay, it took 3 years for the poison to work its way all the way through him, and it killed him. And he even said when he was dying that he felt his aorta was being cut because of the poison he ate. And this is a very interesting story, you guys. This is a very interesting story. It's very interesting because compare this with all the prophecies Jesus spoke around about his death. Look at I'm not just talking about the prophecies in the Old Testament, like Psalm 22 or Isaiah 53 or Daniel chapter 9, that talk about the death of Jesus, predicted the death of Jesus. But just the prophecies that Jesus himself spoke regarding his death. There's a unbelievable number of prophecies there. Now, for instance, he says, he told his disciples, go find the room where we're going to have the Last Supper. And then he told his disciples, go to the city and you're going to find a man carrying a bottle, a water jug, and follow him. And then he'll take you to a place, go to the house and ask the master if we can use the upper room. And they found it exactly as he said. And then Jesus said to Peter, you're going to deny you know me 3 times before the cock crows. And then he told all his disciples, you're all going to desert me. And he told them that he's going to be spit upon, he's going to be crucified, that the Jews are going to hand him over to the Gentiles. And he told them everything. And then after 3 days, he's going to rise again. So Jesus had these amazing prophecies, his own prophecies of his own death that were fulfilled exactly like Jesus said. Well, Muhammad, in the story of Safiya bint Huyay, had a couple of prophecies himself, but they were pathetically false. And the big one is that Safiya, is that Muhammad, when the meat talked to him, he was eating a leg of lamb, and then the leg of lamb spoke to him. he said this. Muhammad said this. The leg of lamb spoke to him and said, "I'm poisoned, don't eat me." Okay, but he told them just a few seconds too late. He told them after Bishr already took a bite and after he, Muhammad, put it on his mouth. And so after they did that, the meat spoke and said, "Hey, don't eat me, I'm poisoned." Okay. But the prophecy failed because Bishr died, and then Muhammad ended up dying just a few years later. But there's another prophecy too, because Sophia, Muhammad said to Sophia, he said, "Why did you do this?" And she said, "I figured if you're a king, then we'll just get rid of you. But if you're a prophet, Allah's going to tell you that there's poison, and so you're not going to eat it." Okay, and he, he failed that test because Allah did not tell him not to eat it in time. Okay, so he did end up dying because of that meal. And but there's another prophecy too, because she said, I put the poison so that you would die and would get rid of you." And Muhammad said to her, it says, "Allah will not allow you to do it." Muhammad said to her, "Allah will not allow you to do that." But Allah did allow her to do it. Allah did allow her to do it. And so he ended up dying from it. Okay. So that's Sophia bint Huyay. Okay. Okay. Long story, but okay. So how many is that so far? I think I've given you 4 so far. Okay. Khadija, Zainab bint Jahsh, uh, um, Sophia bint Huyay. Okay. And then Juwairiya bint al-Harith. Juwairiya bint al-Harith. Okay. And she was a Jewish prisoner who who was taken by Thabit bin Qais. And she and okay. Okay. Okay, now this is Juwairiya bint al-Harith, and she was very beautiful. And another guy already took her. She's one of the Jewish prisoners of war. And there was another guy named Thabit bin Qais, who took her as his prisoner. And Aisha saw her, and she was so beautiful. And she knew what Muhammad did to beautiful women. And so Aisha forbade her from coming near Muhammad because she knew what Muhammad was going to do to her. But she failed because Muhammad saw that this beautiful Jewish prisoner and took her anyway. So he did take her and have sex with her. Okay, Juwairiya bint al-Harith. Okay. Okay, now this is the names of the wives who remained with Muhammad until he died. Okay, so these are the wives who were with him until he died, when he died. Aisha bint Abu Bakr, Aisha, the 6-year-old wife, who 6-year-old wife, okay, and Hafsa bint Umar bin Khattab, Hafsa, the daughter of Umar bin Khattab. Remember, she's the one that Muhammad one day said to her, he said, "Honey, don't you miss your dad? Don't you want to go see your dad, honey? You haven't seen your dad for a while. Why don't you go see your daddy and say hi to him for me? Tell him how much I admire him. I really like your dad. Your dad's a great man. I respect him greatly. And you haven't seen him for a while, so why don't you go visit him?" And she said, "Okay, honey, I'll go." And so she's on her way, but then she gets suspicious on the way. She thinks, you know what, Muhammad doesn't just do nice things like that for nothing. So she ends up going back to her house. And when she goes back to her house, what does she find? He's on the bed, on Hafsa's bed with Maria the Copt, having sex with her. And then Muhammad swears, "I'm never going to have sex with her again." Okay, but anyway, Hafsa was with Muhammad until he died. Okay, Okay, she was young too. She was only like 16 or something. She was a teenager. Okay, Selma. This is mother Selma. وهي هند بنت أبي أمية المخزومية. تقدم لها أبو بكر قبل محمد فركضت غارت منها عائشة الجمالها. Oh, okay. It's okay. Okay, so anyway, Abu Bakr wanted this woman. Her name is Salma. Abu Bakr wanted her. He liked her, but she ran away from Abu Bakr and went to Muhammad. Okay, and Aisha again was very jealous because she was very beautiful. So Aisha was very jealous of her. It's like Aisha's got this jealousy issue. Okay, yes. Well, Rands, there's more to it than just that. I don't just want to make it a simple situation of Hafsa outsmarted him. Because Allah got involved too. And there's a verse in the Quran, I believe it's 64 verse 5 or 65 verse 4, where Allah says that He and Allah and all the good believers and all the good angels are all on Muhammad's side against his two wives, Hafsa and Aisha, when they got fed up with Muhammad's philandering. Okay. The next one is Habiba bint Abi Sufyan. She's the sister of Muawiyah, who became a caliph. Hajrat, she was one of the ones that went to Ethiopia with her husband Abdullah ibn Jahsh, who became a Christian. Okay, so when what was happening is when the Muslims were in Mecca, they couldn't stand Muhammad. They started persecuting the Muslims, and so a group of them went to Ethiopia to flee the persecution. And when they were there, one of them, his name was Abdullah ibn Harith, he became a Christian. And so when Muhammad heard about it, he called for his wife, which is Habiba bint Abi Sufyan, and he ended up marrying her. So Muhammad's always trying to solve problems. Okay. Ain't no way. Isn't that a Aretha Franklin song? Okay. Then there's another wife who was with Muhammad until his death was Maymuna Khalid bin Walid. This is the aunt of Khalid bin Walid. And she is one of those very noble women who gave herself to Muhammad. She gave herself to Muhammad. Okay. She's one of the ones who obeyed Quran 3350 and gave herself to Muhammad. Okay. So he married her in Fil Umrah while he was on the Hajj. It wasn't really the Hajj, it was the Umrah, which is the small Hajj. So he went on a small pilgrimage around the Kaaba, and there he married her. Isn't that what Ali Dawah did with that girl? So Maymuna. Call Ibn Abbas زواج رسول الله من ميمونة محرم. Okay. So Muhammad, she gave herself to him. She just came and said, "Hey, Prophet, I want to obey the Quran, chapter 3350, where it says, any believing woman can give herself to you if you want her." And so Muhammad did want her, and so he did have relationships with her. Then there was Soda bint Zum'ah. Soda is the one, it was actually his second wife. After Khadija died, the first woman he married was Soda. And after Sauda, he married Aisha. Sauda was about Muhammad's age, okay, but Muhammad was not willing, content to have women his own age. Okay, he lived with an old woman long enough. He wanted some younger women, as he encouraged his followers. Um, and so after her, he married Aisha, 6-year-old Aisha. Okay. عندما كبرت في السن أراد محمد. When she got older, Muhammad wanted to divorce her, and so she made an agreement with Muhammad, and it is recorded in Quran chapter 4, um, verse, I believe it's 181. No, but what it was, it is the basis for Muhammad Hijab's hotel marriage. It's the basis, the Quranic justification for misyar marriage, which is you don't have to support them, you don't have to do anything, just give them, but don't kick her out, don't divorce her. Okay, so this was the basis for misyar marriage, was based on Sauda bint Jahsh. Okay, all right. Now, now there's other women in Muhammad's lives, and fathers that. Uh, oh, okay. Wait a second. There's some more here. Let me not miss any. Okay, there was Maria. Okay, these are women, who were like prisoners or maids, like maids that Muhammad had. Okay, and there's 5 women who were maids that he had sex with. Number 1 is Maria the Copt. Her story is very well known. Okay, Mary the Copt. Number 2 was Zalicha, Zalicha el Cortebe. Okay, so Zalicha el Cordia. Okay, now there's no information about her. Okay, but her name is Zalicha. These would have been like his employees that he had sex with. Jariya, Zainab bint Jahsh. Jariyat, okay, يقول نسباوي وهبت زينب بنت جحش للرسول جاريتها فقد كان قد هجر معاشرة زينب بسبب احتجاجها عليه عندما عاشر صفية بنت حيي في يومها، ولكن في الشهر الذي مات فيه الرسول زينب ودخل عليها فقالت ما أدري ما أجزيك وهبتها له. Okay, so this girl is the slave of Zainab bint Jahsh, Muhammad's daughter-in-law / wife. Okay, remember Muhammad's son Zayd? Muhammad took his wife Zainab bint Jahsh. Well, Zainab bint Jahsh had a slave girl, and one time she wanted to give Muhammad something. She didn't have nothing to give him, so she gave him her slave girl. So this is Muhammad had her, and he had sex with her. According, okay. She, what happened is that Muhammad once was so pleasing to Zainab bint Jahsh, and she said, "Ma adri ma ajazik." She said, "I don't know what to give you in exchange for your great kindness to me, so I'll give you my slave girl to have sex with." And okay, all right, another Jadiya, which is like a slave girl. أخرى جميلة أصابها في بعد السبي. Okay. الفتاة. Okay. Okay, now these are some of the women. There's Jamila. Uh, there's El Fatat El Fazariya. Okay, now these are the young women. Okay, there's also number 4. Uh, there's the beautiful women that he took, and I'm not sure exactly how many of them there are. But then there are the young girls of El Fazara, the young girls of El Fazara. And so I'm going to give a test here. There's going to be a great reward for whoever can answer this. There is a huge story connected to El Fazara, the Fazara. Muhammad got a lot of girls from this battle. Okay, Fatat al Fazari. Who can tell me the most famous story to come from the El Fazara? Does anybody know? You're going to get a great reward. Who knows a great story that's going to come from El Fazara? Anybody remember the story? There's one really important story that comes from El Fazara. Who knows? Does anybody know it? Okay, looks like we got another conversation going on here too. No, not the Seven Sleepers. A much worse story than that. A much worse story. El Fazara, let me just tell you, is a tribe. El Fazara. Okay. Okay. Well, do you remember a woman, an old woman, okay, that Muhammad had tied between 2 camels and he ripped her in half? Okay. She was from the tribe of Fazara. What was her name again? There's the woman that was torn apart by Kurfa, right? Kurfa. She's from the tribe of Fazara. So anyway, but a lot of women were captured at that battle, and Muhammad got a bunch of them. Okay, so those were among the 66. Okay, there were Hamas. Okay, there's Asma min Aqid alayhun ulam yut. Then there's a bunch of women that he had a contract with. He had a contract to marry them, but he did not actually have sexual relations with them. But those among them, there were 3 women. Okay, there were 3 women who wanted to give themselves to Muhammad, but for some reason, you can guess why. They're probably very ugly, or they were fat or old. So he didn't want them. Okay, among them was Fatima bint Sari', Sharik bint Ghaziya min al-Azd, and Layla bint al-Khatim al-Awsiya. Okay, so these were women who tried to give themselves to Muhammad, but he didn't want them, maybe because of their looks. There were times where Muhammad, so generous was he, that there was a woman who wanted to give herself to him, and he looked at her and said, I'm not taking any contributions today. So he asked one of his sahabis, one of his companions, hey, don't you need a wife? Here you go. Why don't you take her? Okay. Then there were 4 who died. There were 4 who died on their way to Muhammad. So Muhammad was going to marry them, have sex with them, but they died on their way to Muhammad. Okay. Their names are Sharaf bint Khalifa al-Kalbiya, has relation to dogs. Okay. Ukht Dahi. Oh, yeah, boy. Um, she's the sister of Muhammad's dear friend Dahya. She's the sister of Muhammad's dear friend Dahya. And so she died on the way to Muhammad. Then there was Sana bint Asma bin Isalt, and she died before Muhammad reached her. Then there was Kumbala bint Qais el-Kandiya. Okay, and Muhammad died before she reached him from Yemen. Okay, so those are four women who were like on their way to Muhammad. They either died on the way or he died before they got there. Okay. يا أيها المسلمون انضموا إلى برنامج الدافع عن إسلامكم. Muslims, come and defend your religion. Okay. All right, here's some more women. Then there were four. Okay, there were four women. This is funny. Okay, there were four women that when Muhammad was getting close to having sex with them, what they did is they took Aisha's advice. Aisha knew how to scare Muhammad to where he wouldn't have sex with a woman. What she would tell them is she would say, when Muhammad comes to have sex with you, say, "A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, minnak. A'udhu billahi minnak." He says, I take refuge in Allah from you. I take refuge in Allah from you. So there were four women that did that. I'm sure it's from Aisha's advice because she knew how to say. Okay, and because of it, Muhammad never had sex with them. The names of those are Fatima bint Dahak bin Sufyan el-Kalabiya, Umrah bint Jun el-Juniya el-Kandiya, Asma bint النعمان, Malika bint Ka'b الليشي. قالت لها عائشة: أما تستحين من قاتل أبيك فاستعذت منه فطلقها. Okay, so Aisha said to this woman, her name is Malika bint Ka'b. She said, because Muhammad killed her father. And then Aisha said to her, aren't you ashamed to be having sex with the guy who killed your father? So when he comes to you, just say, A'udhu billah minnak. I take refuge in Allah from you. And so Muhammad, when she did that, he says, okay, I divorce you, I divorce you, I divorce you. So, yes, yes, there were plumbing problems in Muhammad's home. Yes, there was tremendous plumbing problems. Okay. أربع نساء طلقهم. There's four women that Muhammad divorced, but in order to divorce them, he had to marry them first. Okay. Amina bint النعمان. Okay. قال لها هبيتي نفسك. قالت وهل تهب Amima bint al-Nu'man. Now, this is a classy lady. Okay, Amima was a classy lady. And so Muhammad said, give yourself to the Prophet, believing woman. And she said, how could a queen give herself to a street urchin like you? Muhammad got mad and divorced her. So, she was classy. She said, how could a queen give herself to a street, like a homeless or a street urchin, someone living on the street like you. Suka in Arabic is the word. And so he divorced her. Then there was Hind bint Yazid al-Maghzumiyya. ورفضته ثم وافقت عليه وَلَمْ يَدْخُلْ بِهَا. Okay, so she refused him. Okay, but then later she agreed, but he did not have sex with her. أما عمرو بنت أما عمرو بنت يزيد الكلابية. Okay, it looks like one of Dahiya's relatives. رأى بياضا في كشحها في العانة كتقلق. Okay, he found some white. Okay, he looked at her and found some whiteness in her organ area. Likely meaning she had leprosy. Okay, so he divorced her. Found the hadith where Muhammad says the children of pagans go to Jannah, so you don't have to be a Muslim apparently. Well, yes, there, even in the Quran, it says that Christians, Jews, and Sabians have nothing to fear because they're going to go to heaven. But then later on, Muhammad changed his mind and said, "No, you're going to hell." Okay, then Hind bint Yazid al-Makhzumiyya. Okay, some of these stories are funny, man. Okay, بقية من عقد عليهن ولم يدخل. Okay, now these are some of the other women that he made a marriage contract with them, but then he did not have sex with them. Yeah. Okay. عددهن 15. Oh, there are 15 women. 15 women. These are their names. أسماء بنت صلت, أسماء بنت كعب, أمينة بنت شراحيل. الكلابية اختلفوا في تحديد شخصيتها. سلمى بنت تجدة, سبا بنت سفيان, الشاء بنت الرقاعة, الشريك الأنصارية, الشنباء بنت عمرو الغفارية, عمرو بنت معاوية الكندية, عمرو بنت يزيد بن عبيد بن رواس, عمرة بنت يزيد الغفارية, غزية بنت داود بن عوف, كانت قبل عند الطفيل بن حارث. Okay, this one was with somebody else before him. Layla bint Hakim al-Ansari. Layla, you know the Eric Clapton song, Layla. Okay. Bint Jundab. Bint Jundab. So these are the 15 women that he had marriage contract with, but he did not do the deed. Okay. الفتنة الرابعة, the fourth group, عددهن 17. These are 17 women that he got engaged to. He was engaged to marry them. Okay, and these are women that he did get engaged to, but he did not consummate the love. One is Khola bint Hakim. She gave herself to him. أرجاها فتزوجها من بن. Okay. She tried to give herself to Muhammad, but he begged her, "No, I don't want you." So she ended up marrying a guy named Uthman. Okay. Sharik bint Jabir al-Ghufariya. She also gave herself to Muhammad. Dude, there must have been a lot of women giving themselves to him. Jamra bint al-Harith bin Auf. جمرة بنت الحارث بن أبي حارث المزنية مزنية. حبيبة بنت سهل. سودة القرشية. صفية بنت بشامة. ضياعة بنت عمر. عامر بن قرط. نعامة somebody named نعامة. شريك الأنصارية. شريك الدوسية. شريك القرشية العامرية. هاني بنت أبي طالب ابنة his cousin. Okay. أمرة لم تسم أذكرت في المراجع كثيرة تحت هذه العنوان. امرأة لم. Okay, there's a woman who was not named but is mentioned anonymously in many Islamic sources. Okay. أمامة بنت حمزة بن عبد المطلب. عزة بنت أبي سفيان. هبلة بنت قيس أخت الأشعاث. Okay. These معرف من. Okay. Okay, so these all together, you guys, are 66 women who Muhammad was either involved with or planning to get involved with. Some of them died. Some of them got divorced. Some of them he died before he got to have sex with them. Some of them he just did. Many of them gave themselves to him. That's the freakiest thing. Many of them gave himself, or should we say, they offered themselves to him, but he did not want them. Maybe they were too old, too ugly, too fat, whatever. He didn't want them. So there you had 66 women in the life of Muhammad. And if Father Zechariah puts out this list, and this is Father Zechariah's list, then believe me, there is a lot of evidence and documentation for each one of these. So there you go, you guys. 66 women of Muhammad. Some are girls, some are women. Muhammad was very flexible. He had women as old, 15 years older than him. He had women 45 years younger than him. He was very flexible. Oh, wow. Really? Wow. Let's see that hadith. That looks pretty sad. Okay, Sunnah. Okay. Seventh. Okay. I can't find it right now, but I will look for it. So, all right, you guys. Thank you for hanging out. Do we have any Muslims who would like to come on? If there are, oh, absolutely. Muhammad is the first feminist. Absolutely. He believed in women's rights very much. He was absolute pioneer in women's rights. How many wives did the Prophet have? Now this guy right here, there's a guy who is very famous Shiite. I think it's Sheikh Al-Habib, and he did a program where he went through the list. Oh, he was talking about something else. He was talking about the men who were involved with Aisha, and he has 141 men. Now, there's no proof that they had sex with her, but there are very interesting stories about these 141 men. For one, her cousins or her sisters would have to breastfeed them so that they would become muharram, permitted to go into her tent. And in the morning, when they woke up, Aisha, according to the hadith, showed them how to get semen off their clothes because she used to do it for the Prophet with her fingernails. And so, not saying anything happened there. I'm just saying that this is, among the 141. That's 141. Now, Muhammad had 66 women, but Aisha had 141 men. So, yes, unbelievable. Yes. Let's see. Tiger. All right, you guys. Well, that's all I want to talk about today. Appreciate you guys spending a few moments with us. And if there's any Muslims here, I think there are some of you. Just want to tell you, this is who you're following. And some of you may say, well, yes, 3 more days. Some of you may say, well, look at Solomon. He had like 900 women, 700 concubines, 300 wives. What Muhammad did was nothing compared to Solomon. That's true in at least in regard to numbers, but what's different is how the true God treated Solomon's actions versus how Allah of Muhammad treated Muhammad's actions. Now, Allah gave Muhammad the green light, even sending a verse giving him permission to have sex with all these women, okay, and encouraging him. Whereas with Solomon, the Bible says these women turned his heart away from the Lord. And when he was old, they made him build temples for their gods. And so the Bible greatly rebukes Solomon for what happened. Whereas the Quran greatly encourages what Muhammad did. So that's the big difference there. So, here, neither shall he multiply wives to himself, that his heart turn not away, neither shall he greatly multiply for himself. So, yep. Wow, that's right before Deuteronomy 18. Sharifa Michael, true story. Our standard is Jesus, not Solomon. That's true. Thank you. But I'm just saying that, Sharifa, I'm just saying that Muslims often make that argument, But even if we granted it, it's still destroyed. It's still a faulty argument that, destroys Muhammad and destroys Islam, because it shows that their God doesn't care about this. But the true and living God does care about it. Okay, so thank you. And welcome, Sharifa. I used to have an aunt named Sharifa. Sharifa, by the way, means noble. So, all right, you guys. Well, thank you for hanging out. And if you haven't done it, please do it now. Jesus, help me. Jesus, forgive me. Jesus, come into my heart. Jesus, help me. Jesus, forgive me. Jesus, come into my heart. Yasur sa'idni. Yasur samahni. Yasur udkhul albi. Okay, here's the hadith. Aisha said that she thought the messenger had told her to throw dust in their mouths. Sorry, Muslim 935. All right, you guys, thank you very much and have a wonderful night, and have a blessed tomorrow in the house of God. Thanks.
If you have ever wondered why dull apologists lie so much, it's because on a rare occasion that they tell the truth, this happens.
One of the reasons I accepted Islam was the scientific miracles. I'll be honest with you. And now we know that this whole scientific miracles was absolute nonsense.
You're going to have to repeat that. that the standard narrative has holes in it. That's what I'm going to say.